Hey Marie, Professor Johnson. Okay, let's dive in. Let's see. Okay, so I actually gave you a grade already before I even started recording this video. Sorry, I forgot to record the video part. All right, so in this first image, on this first page, I'm going to challenge you on this dog being I asked for something that had an implied but not real texture, and in all honesty, this cute puppy, I hopefully he's yours, he has real texture. It's not implied for him, right? If there was some kind of, little sweater he had on, or actually I guess it would be a big sweater on this dog, but this is a real texture. Like I know what I can imagine what his fur feels like. I can even imagine what his eyelashes feel like. So I'm going to challenge you that this is not an implied texture. This is a real texture. However, your checkerboard dress here, right? Your checkerboard dress here definitely is an implied texture. We feel like the dress may be bumpy, but the texture is implied. Okay. Moving forward, now this is two great examples of texture that could be felt physically. So, in looking at this image, it is very 3D-ish, if that's a word I just made up, right? And I'm assuming it's made with paint, but it could be made with epoxy or some other medium that gives it this 3D, this much thicker appearance. And then when we're looking at the garment here, it's almost like raw cotton. It's almost like the cotton is sprouting up out. Oh, it could be wool, actually. Now think about it. Looking at this cotton wool, this fiber is sprouting out of the dress. So yes, these were our examples of textures that could be seen in touch. And then moving forward, right? These are two great examples of real and implied texture, because this looks like an actual 2D metalwork sculpture over a drawing that is an implied texture, and then this is something real. And the same thing with this garment that you selected. We can see, some very fine lace, and then we have this this cutwork embroidery over the top of it. So it makes us feel like there are two different textures that are happening here. Okay. And then moving forward, and this is why the main reason, the first image in this one, why I took some points away, because I asked for four things. I asked for something bumpy and smooth and soft and scaly. And unlike in your other images where you gave me some explanation, I don't have any explanation in this last piece. So I'm not sure. I mean, I obviously know what you were using as your scaly, but we're using this as scaly and bumpy. Were you using this image as soft and smooth? Were you using this dress as soft and smooth? I'm making assumptions that this was your soft and this was your smooth, but I don't have the bumpy and scaly as this. But again, I needed the commentary, right? I needed the commentary too. So don't forget to include those pieces in there as well. Okay, thanks. Hey Anna. Okay, let's dive in. Sorry, I graded you before I recorded the video, so I'm scrolling through as I'm looking for it. So also I asked you to kick that slide out of there. So going forward, if you get a template, make sure you kick any instructional pieces in there. All right, so let's see. Oh, it looks like you had some kind of issue because you hand wrote your answers in. So you were able to insert the images, but for some reason you won't be able to add the text. Okay, so let's do this. Let's schedule a tutorial on how to get images and text in there. Really, in all honesty, if you would have clicked on that box, it should have allowed you to just type it in. But I appreciate you. Like, I'm gonna get this assignment done. You're like, I'm gonna get this assignment done, so let me do what I need to do. So I appreciate you getting it done. Okay. All right. So so we saw this image in our article from the New York Times. There's an artist, I can't remember the artist's name right now, it escapes me, that does these 3D pony sculptures. So so that was that's a good choice. And then I'm not sure who this is because I don't know this artist, but there is some implied texture here as well. It's almost like a 3D kind of softness. Like I almost feel like it like the kids have these like puff when I say kids, my kids aren't that little anymore. They have these little puff letters that they use, so it feels like it's a very soft image. I mean, it's a very soft texture, comforting, almost like something that, like a mat that you would be on, like at the yoga mat. That's what it is. The yoga mat. That's what I'm thinking about. All right, moving forward, with real texture that can be felt physically, right? So I just did something with some orchids last night. I was making a centerpiece for my dining room, and so I was playing around with different colored mosses as well. So it really does. It looks like, if you hadn't told me that this was moss, it just looks like the top of a canopy in a forest, right? There's the tops of trees with all the color, and moss does have, it can be felt physically, has a real texture. And then moving on to your Chanel, the Chanel sweater here. Actually, I love that because it's my favorite color. It's my signature color. I can almost see that this has a really soft hand to it, right? We talked about hand and luster, so that's really important too. Okay, a combination of real and implied texture, right? So this image was used someplace in the lecture. I can't remember exactly where it was, but yeah, it has a pattern, and we can tell that it's actually made out of rope. So right, so there is real and implied, and we have a idea of what it would feel like too, right? When we talk about texture, we talked about it being a tactile experience, right? So what it would feel like. And this apparel piece, really, like, it's a combination of two things. Like, the top is very downy and, feather-like, so it seems like really, really soft and comfortable. And as you move down the garment, it becomes more cacti-like, right? It almost prickly, like you said, spikes, but it becomes a really prickly garment. So those were good choices as well. Okay, and then moving forward, okay, so I asked for something bumpy and smooth and soft and scaly. Interesting. I'm going to start over here. I never thought of mosaics as being scaly, but that's a good choice, right? That's a good one. I'm going to use that as an example, because they're just little cut up pieces of glass or ceramics or paper. But yeah, that's good because it does have a scaly feature. You pick apparel, you picked some cords for soft and a slip dress. You can't go wrong with a slip dress for smooth. And this is an interesting piece of artwork. You said because of its uneven paint, but yeah, it does have a bumpy texture. Just by looking at it, it probably is even more pronounced if we got in front of the actual piece. So those are all good choices. Okay, but you missed something here, so I'm gonna have to go update this. You gave me no sources, so I did need to know where these images came from. So make sure you include that in any other, whenever I give you a template and I ask for sources, please make sure you include that as well. All right, thanks. Okay, hey Unique, let's dive in. I actually forgot to record before, so I completed your grading already. So this is the first image. Yay, yay nephew that's aspiring to be an artist. I feel like he put actual braids on your hair as you grow up. Please tell me if he did that. I need to know that at some point. So fill me in on if you did that. Okay, so let's move down. Oh, good. I see that you took the template and made it your own. So okay. All right, so something that texture that can be felt, caressed. That's spelled not correctly. So and I'm not the grammar spelling police because I mess up too. But I'm just saying, other instructors would say something. So so make sure you spell stuff correctly. But oh, Fred Siegel, he just passed last week too. So yes, I know this texture. This is the front of the store. On Sunset, and right, we can tell that it's it's vines growing up across from the store, but since the logo has this kind of 3D mid-century modern edge to it, it comes out a little bit. It can be felt and touched. Okay. All right. So next you moved to smooth, and this image in real life. it's, I don't know, this seems a little washed out. I'm not sure where you got it from. But this image actually is not as smooth as you would think, because you can actually see brush strokes in it. When we talked about Van Gogh, this isn't Van Gogh. When we talked about, or maybe it is. I'm sorry. Now I don't know. I hate to say it. I have Van Gogh and Monet both in my head right now, so I don't want to say the wrong thing. But it does have more brush strokes in it, so you can see more. Okay. All right. Okay. So you made this PowerPoint your own, but it looks like you deviated from the template that I laid out too. So let me just keep going through here. So I saw this before I recorded the video. I saw this. So what you did is the first slide I wanted for something something implied. I wanted something real and implied, something real. And it looks like you just have taken the pieces and kind of scrambled them up. So you missed some stuff, right? So I did ask for something bumpy, but I also asked for something smooth, but I asked for artwork and an apparel item, and you didn't do both. So that's why it's costing you some points. Okay. Again, I did ask for something scaly. So an apparel item would have been great. I understand this is actually the coloration. This is really good on this gecko or chameleon, whichever. I hate to say it, I don't know which one it is, but scaly, I was looking for, I won't say something not found in nature, even though I told you to use nature and everything else, right? And texture, real and implied. And yeah, the texture is in this is just because it's layers upon layers upon layers. So you did lose some points here because you did not completely follow what was in the template, and not just in order what was in the template, but what the template was asking for, because I was asking for artwork and images, and you didn't do both, and I needed both. Okay. If you have any questions, though, hit me in the comments here, and then we can schedule a face-to-face if we need to. All right. Bye.